On Sunday, February 15th, for the first time in 36 years, the NRL will return to the iconic Henson Park, with the greatest club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks, facing Parramatta as part of the pre-season challenge. Be a part of the Beer Footy Food Festival, proudly brought to you by the Good Time Sports Company, in conjunction with the Cronulla Sharks and Newtown Jets. 5 grades of footy from 10:30 the Harold Matthews all the way down to the 6 p.m. NRL trial match. Tickets are on sale now. Grab one while you can. Up. The Royal Motor Yacht Club Port Hacking is a hidden gem of the Shire, situated on the banks of the beautiful Port Hacking. It's a great place to catch up with friends, celebrate your birthday or any special occasion, and they always show the NRL live on the big screens. The RMYC Port Hacking, proud sponsors of this podcast and big supporters of the Cronulla Sharks. Check out their website, rmycph.com.au. They've got a Facebook page, or you could go old school and call them on 02 9523 9300.
Shire, turn your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.
Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This show is brought to you by the legends of the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking and Jason Hawes at Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. My name is Sam Shinazzi. I'm an OG from 2015, entering our 12th season of podcasting. Cannot wait to get into it. I am as enthused, if not more, than ever before. It's going to be a big year for the podcast, a big year for the Sharks and the club. Stick with us. We'll cover every angle for you. That is my promise to you. Next weekend, we have the first trial match. It will be against Parramatta. There is going to be 5 grades of football on Sunday, February 15th at Henson Park, the legendary Henson Park. Games commencing from 10:30 through until the 6 o'clock kickoff of NRL. So you got 5 grades of Sharks football from 10:30 to approximately 7:30, 8 o'clock at Henson Park. Get your tickets now. You don't want to miss out. You don't want it to be sold out and you not being able to get in. If you can't be there, it will be on KO and Fox Sports. But we urge you to get along if you can. Now, this episode is a special one. We sit down one-on-one with Coach Craig Fitzgibbon, the head honcho. Gave us his time, and we appreciate it so much. It covers a number of aspects from last year to this year, to young guys, to older guys, to the coaching staff, Fitzy off the field. It's the third interview we've done with him in long-form fashion, and I've tried to make each one different where I can. So I think you'll get a lot out of this interview that you haven't heard before from our coach, Craig Fitzgibbon. And again, we appreciate his time very, very much. If it's your first time tuning in or watching, please give us a like, subscribe, follow wherever you are watching or listening to this right now. And we're on the social media as well, at SharkCast Pod on most social media accounts. Can't wait to rip in this year. Make sure you stick with us, SharkCast Pod. Up next, the coach, Craig Fitzgibbon. For the third straight year, and we really appreciate his time, we have NRL Premiership winner, Clive Churchill medalist, Wally Lewis medalist, entering his 5th season, 105 games coached at the greatest club in the history of the world, 4th most games for the Sharks, 3rd most wins, best win percentage, 63%, our 18th coach. He's made 4 straight finals, finishing top 4 twice, making the past 2 prelims, and he's never lost more than 3 straight games. Mr. Craig Fitzgibbon, welcome back, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Sam. Good, thanks.
Never lost more than 3 straight. People forget that.
Yeah, I don't want to.
I understand that.
Yeah, no, it's we work very hard at consistency. It's not a gift in the NRL, and obviously, thankfully for myself and the staff and the players, that they hate losing as much as I do. So we do something about it. We tend to pick it up, and you get lessons and feedback. But it's been pretty consistent on that front. Yeah.
So I haven't seen you since the launch of Ocean Protect Stadium, which is where we are at right now. But as a surfer and a guy who loves the ocean, how does that make you feel having them on board?
Yeah, it's a good fit. Obviously, being a coastal area and coastal club, it's obviously the work they're doing in the stormwater front and cleaning up the oceans is I think everyone would appreciate it, particularly when we do have those sort of periods of the year where the rains come and you know what it's like, the earaches start and the infections start coming out of the ocean. So to have a company like Ocean Protect behind us, I think it's awesome. It's just such a good fit, it just makes total sense and really, really thankful they've joined.
Now we're going to jump around a little bit, but mainly focus on last year and this year coming. Last year when we spoke to you, Craig, we mentioned things about, since day one you've been here, the hoodoos that we can't get over. So we couldn't go to Brookvale before you arrived and win, and now we do. We couldn't win finals games, and now we do. I want to talk about the finals series last year because I've found it quite remarkable as a long-time fan. Roosters at home, off the back of a lot of media, which we're used to by now, but it still annoys us about you can't win finals. You're not a big club at the right time. Remarkable defence, remarkable resilience to get out of our own 20 in that second half. What are your memories about the Roosters' home game here, the final?
I remember the week leading into it. I wouldn't imagine there was too many teams in the finals that wanted to meet the Roosters. So the fact they'd actually beat us here in 23 in the elimination final. I felt like during the week, okay, we've got some lessons out of the last couple of years in semi-finals, obviously. I felt like we were in a really strong position to be able to deal with what was coming. So super confident, super clear on the way we were playing at that stage. And then, the game was high intensity, high quality as far as semi-finals and ball in play and all the hardest parts you'd measure a good game of footy out of. And it was like just battered down into our own end for extended periods in the first and second half, but particularly that second half one, and we just didn't flinch. It felt like that's something we've been waiting to see or look into a team where under the most extraordinary pressure by a good side that was playing well, to have the players not flinch, bury in, stick to doing things the way we wanted to do it and come out the other side. And when Toby obviously scored that try, what a moment. It was awesome. So we hadn't actually... I'm not sure when the last time we'd won a semi at Shark Park had been. I don't think in my time we had either, so we definitely hadn't. So
might have been 08 against the Raiders. And that was part of my question that I didn't finish up. But the hoodoos and everything else over the years led us towards this game at the Roosters. And they, as you said, they stood up, didn't take a backward step. We saw it in the Bulldogs game in round 26, round 27, and a number of, I think, attitude changes since the Broncos loss, which we might get to in a little bit. That takes us to Canberra and a remarkable win. I know that Canberra had a few things on the day not go their way, but again, Sharks are underdogs. The media's out to paint a picture that we can't win these games. Canberra, one of the best teams all year, especially at home. And to win the way they did in Canberra was huge. Like even just for the long-term picture, for this year coming next year. That experience, what do you remember about that?
Yeah, on the eve of the game, obviously we've got news of Ethan Strange. I felt like that was, that's almost, you can't. He's a good player. Like he was exceptional this year. What a talent he is. But sometimes you go, what wins semi-finals it's not. It's hard work. It's just sometimes it's a moment in time, etc. But what happens when a player of his magnitude drops out? Well, the rest of the team galvanise, and it gives. I know how Sticky motivates and inspires his team, and you're sort of sitting there going, all right, that's actually that's going to be a real force in their favour. Everyone's going to galvanise. They're going to come hard. How are they going to come hard? What do we have to be ready for? What do we have to do? And same thing. We're going to have to absorb some here because they're going to be galvanised about obviously what happened to them in the Brisbane game, looking for a response, and then obviously dealt a blow with Ethan Strange not playing. That was going to make him respond to that. So, but that was going to come out a little bit different to then the way it would have if Ethan had played probably a little little bit different in style, but not different in what, the hard stuff. So same again, just didn't flinch, went into it confident, clear and calm. And then it's just gathering experience, and we don't, whether we like it or not, we hadn't had the, if you call them hoodoos, not a great deal of representative experience in our team, if any. No premiership winners, if any. So Nico was part of a premiership winners squad, of course, but didn't play. No Origin players. You're going, all right, we've had a baptism of fire, and that's come at the end of the season to gather experience in big games. And we learnt painful lessons. The first year was just, again, wasn't up to what you need to do to win a semi-final, to be frank. Mm-hmm. Second year, I thought we should have won. We didn't close it out against the Roosters, but performed a lot better under pressure, and then obviously got one done, then got two done. So it's been painful, but all the while we're not happy about it either. No. We're not satisfied in making two prelims and not going one further either. That's not a feeling of we've done it. It's a successful year. Like anyone tells you otherwise, how hard it is to get to semis, how hard it is to win semis. To say it's not successful, that's not true. But it's not the ultimate success, which is what we want, and it still hurts. It really hurts. So it's been another lesson.
Melbourne hurt in week 3. I thought it was probably the best we've played against them in a long time in a losing to them. The game was in the balance with probably 20 to go still. What do you take out of that loss aside from that feeling of losing and the experience? Is there a way that, like if you watched it back many times, is there a way you would address it differently or have them play differently or anything like that? Or
we, to be fair, felt like maybe a couple of preparation things. Obviously, an interstate trip, we come back, I don't know what time we got home from Canberra on a bus. You only get half an hour of training in a week like that, and then you got to go to Melbourne, who haven't left Melbourne for the whole semi-series. So if they have a week off and they haven't left Melbourne, and they played Thursday in the last round, so advantage Melbourne in a preparation sense. Now, we got as much done as we could, but you got to be clear that that's something to account for. And then I just thought what we needed, I thought at the time we were battle hardened. We were really, really fit, really, really settling into the hardest games. And it just, as far as the semi-final standard goes, it was physically hard as in the collision, but it wasn't an intense game. It just was stop-start, penalties, stop-start. It just... And I didn't think we handled the transition times between that. Again, another lesson. If we play Melbourne again, and it's always going to be they're a powerful team, but it's a lower ball in play team. Some adjustments we need to make if we play Melbourne again. But again, another lesson. And it's easier to say it beforehand or retrospectively, but I wasn't going into the game. The boys were confident, and the boys sort of termed it, we've got a bit of belief in our bones now that they're not scared of those occasions. They're not scared of the, we're about getting better, and we're going down there to get better, and we ultimately fell short.
Before we get to the positive stuff, a little bit more negativity. Not that that's negative, but a couple of key losses last year. So I look at this team that we all love, and I think they're a brilliant group, and they play brilliantly most of the time. There's some losses last year that sting, both at the time, but then we knew it would catch up to us later in the year as far as top 4 goes. Playing at home in week 1 to get week 2 off. The Raiders last minute loss early in the year. The Roosters loss at Sunny Coast. You know what I'm going to go here.
Yep.
The Broncos loss and the Dragons loss to an extent. Do you address that at all in the off season now, or is that just done and dusted?
Well, we addressed it as it happened.
Yeah.
We weren't. Listen, let's be brutally honest with. You can't BS the players, like they know, but they can't BS us either. So the honest opinion of what happened was, week before the bye, Roosters missing Origin players, can call it complacency. No, that's a mental preparation gap, because we trained that week. That's an opportunity, where we didn't represent what we believe in wins games of footy. That's an unacceptable one. The season-defining one, the Canberra one, not necessarily a 5-day turnaround off the back of going to Vegas and etc. Mm-hmm. we had some issues there. We had a lot of illness in the team at that current point in time, so probably, and I don't like giving them, no one wants excuses either, but it still hurt.
Yeah, it's still a fact.
Yeah, it still hurt. Now, the turning point for us was the Brisbane one. That was so far away from the values that we work on, what we believe in each other. As far as a disconnected performance, that was almost as disappointed as I've been in since the whole time we've been here. To say it wasn't the catalyst to waking up was. So yeah, you don't want to have a loss like that to wake up, and that was a talking point then, and then the players did something about that, and then it's still a talking point now as well. That one hurt more than anything else, and I don't think that. Yeah, if you consider the Dragons game at the end of the year, they were playing really well. We didn't play well on the day. Yep. Still a close game, mate. They beat Canberra the week before. They were having a good run there, and we just didn't play well on the day. But the season-defining one was the Brisbane game, undoubtedly.
So attitude shift. The defence lifts unbelievably for the rest of the year.
Yep.
Best in the comp, which we've seen under your coaching over the 4 years at various points of various seasons. My question to you is, how do we keep that attitude both defensively and that kind of... There was a bit of chip on the shoulder towards the end of the year. Now, as a former player, you'll be able to answer it, if not as a coach. Is that hard to maintain going into round one this year for 27 rounds in the final series? Or do you pick when you do it? Or?
We're trying to all the time, and we will be trying again this year, but we've got some evidence to suggest why and how to address it earlier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. It's a long year, and you're not going to get it all your own way. But what you can't account for, if you're slightly off in, it could be health, it could be distractions, it could be players are going through some things. There's a multitude of things. But where it'll come out, if you're not all doing the same thing, thinking the same thing, being the same thing at the same time, it'll come out in your defence. So if you think you can get everyone all on board for the entirety of a season, it's a little bit more difficult than it sounds. Now, do we want to? Will our objective be to do that? Yeah, we'll be. Bloody oath. And we've been pretty consistent at it, as you said, but still don't think we're at the level we want to get to with it. But we're clearer this year, and the players they don't want to feel like they felt after that Brisbane game ever again. So we've worked on that, and what was it about that, and how it happened, and we've we feel like that's been a really important lesson in our growth, and ultimately really painful. The players have done something about it as well. So
absolutely,
yeah, we've got a real marker there. What was it about that, and those distractions, disconnections, and things like that? I know they call them buzzwords, but they're real things.
Yeah.
That was in play. That Brisbane game's the worst example of that. As to what we've had. But we don't want to sit here and talk about all the things we haven't done or that game too much. Whereas whether we liked it, we hated it, but it helped and we got better.
All right, new season 26. Here we are. It's a very different preseason. There's no Hall of Fame. There's no Las Vegas. There's no travelling to Las Vegas. There's no media hype. There's no constant media appearances. We've got one members launch this week. You're doing a bit of media, 2 trial matches. Then we face the Titans. Is that noticeable already in the advantage that you're going to be sticking around here and not having all that kind of distraction?
Yeah. Ideally, it's a more streamlined preparation for us. That's for sure. We've had far better training quality. We've had far better numbers and player availability through pre-season. Less illness. And we've been able to do a training camp we didn't last year. We're basically still patching the team together before heading to Vegas to not knowing who was playing in Vegas last year. We're a bit clearer this year on who should be available. But, touch wood, there's still a couple of hard sessions and trials to come and get through. So that's been clearer, but it's also the decade anniversary to the grand final win. So when we feel like the pressure we're under is ours and it's internal and we still feel it and it's still there. The external pressure to us is it's going to stay the same. I don't know. If it was going to change, it would have by now, and it hasn't. So we don't do it to shut people up as much as we do it to earn it for ourselves.
People are saying already it's the last dance, a reference to some basketball in the NBA in the 90s, I think it was. What that means is a bunch of players off contract. Whether it's respected media people, whether it's fan people, there's this thing out there now that it's the Sharks' last chance, which I personally don't believe, but there are half the squad off contract. How do you as a coach and your staff, how do you handle that as the year progresses? Because I guess in your mind you've got possibly three categories: guys who are staying, guys who might be staying, guys who aren't staying. How do you deal with that with the players themselves and not make it a distraction?
Yeah, it has. Well, you got to be open and honest about it, which we have been into the individuals and as a group. That's a reality. But mate, no one's looking at what we have got on contract as well. So it's important to note that the nucleus and a core bunch of players will still be on contract. What we worked on or what we're talking about is it's an opportunity. Like, it doesn't matter whether, because we don't know who's staying. Like, to be fair to the players, most of them want to stay. So, but the reality is we probably won't be able to keep them all. Now, I won't be sitting and declaring who's staying and who's going at this stage, because we're not sure. Performance would indicate. How the players perform generally determines whether you're signing them or not. And the other way to look into it is if another club comes for a player early and forces your hand, So, example, Jesse Colquhoun. Well, we've been trying to sign Jesse for months, so that wasn't a shock to anyone, I think, that we re-signed Jesse, but Perth forced our hand. We had to get it done. So that's generally how it works. If other clubs come for our players and we have to respond to a scenario, well, yeah, we've got to make a call. If not, performance will determine what we do there. But we've got a lot of players on contract, and we've got a lot of players that are not far off being ready to go. So it's exciting more than anything else. And what the players have been great about, without the interruptions from external clubs, noise, media, etc., the players are all in. They're not distracted. They're understanding that we've had a stable group for a number of years, and we've had to work really hard to keep them together. That was very deliberate on our behalf. And the reason we've done that is because we, as a staff, we believe we've got a group of players that can do something. So why would I change it? Like, I'm not going to just go and sign players because the media want me to or whatever. No, I think we've got a good group of players that can do something. And I'm entitled as a coach to believe in those players and get the very best out of them. And if we can't, then we've got to make some changes. So it hasn't happened yet, and we've gotten better with that group of players every year. So let's try and get better again and see what happens.
I'm with you. Like, if I could keep these guys together for 3 or 4 more years, I would. Like, if we're making prelims every year, I know you say it's not good enough. For me as a fan, it's good enough in the sense that you're 1 step away from making the big one, 2 steps away from making history. So, they're not doing a lot wrong in this mob.
There's excitement. Like, obviously, if a player like Adam Fanua-Blake comes along and we're within the position to be able to secure him, that's something that your club has to do, and we've done that. For this season, we're more than comfortable with the squad that we do have, so we didn't feel a need to move in any direction. We very targeted a few younger players as the next crop, or players coming through that we thought were more important for us going forward. So, if something comes up, we'll move on it, and if it doesn't, we'll keep going.
Blayke Brailey, this is our 3rd long-form chat, you and I, on record, and every time I ask you about Blayke Brailey, and every year the answer gets better and better and better. Obviously it's not even a breakout season. He was just one of the best players in the comp last year and easily our best player. You gave him the captaincy, and then he lifted even more. Let me ask you that, and if you can't answer, it's fine. Are you able to say who the captain's going to be this year?
Not yet.
No worries?
Not yet. I'll tell you later.
No worries.
I haven't announced it yet.
That's cool. Blayke Brailey, there's not much more he can do to be better than last year, as in, like, he was almost 10 out of 10. Like, he was remarkable. Where does he go to from here? Is it more of the same? Where in your eyes, obviously in your eyes you can probably lift somewhere, where would you see him lifting?
Oh, I thought his back end of the year was better than his first half of the year.
So consistency, maybe?
Yeah, I think you do what the humans or men do. If you change your added responsibility, some people rise to the occasion and look forward to that. And generally, a bit more responsibility does get the best out of people. I'm sure in a lot of facets of life. But for Blayke, the added responsibility drew a different sort of character about him, where he felt more. Obviously, a captain's one thing, right? A captain being a performer. He's in the leadership group. He's a captain of consistency via his performances. But what he is in a leadership sense, and why the responsibility works so much for him, was he had to be conscious of what the group's doing and what the group's thinking and have the team's needs, and then started to view himself as, geez, the team need me to do X, Y, Z more than I've been doing. And that was kind of a penny drop moment. And he's very measured in his leadership style and the way he commands the group. He's not just holding meetings for the sake of meetings. He's got a good cadence to his leadership. He speaks when it's required. Mm-hmm. What he says is on point, and he's very measured because he's thoughtful. He's a very thoughtful guy. And now that he's actually, with that responsibility, taken the lens of actually what does our footy need? What does the team need? It's actually allowed him to realise his position and realise his responsibility to the team and grow. So I'd like to think that I just still don't think he's at his best. It's freaky, eh? But he might have more.
I love the way that, look, obviously his playing ability was remarkable, especially the second half of the year. But I loved on the field how, as I said before, there was a bit of a chip in the shoulder of all of them, which was great. A bit of a line in the sand. You're not going to push us around. I think it might have been the Canberra game where there was a bit of push and shove, and Blayke came in and kind of gave a little push himself. He wasn't stepping out of the captain role and just being a thug or whatever. He was just sticking up for his team. I'm not saying he hasn't done that before, but to see that with the captain's role, it meant a bit more. And even off the field, walking around here, you could just see all the media is doing, everything else didn't affect him at all. I mean, he's the most chill, as you know, and a lot of people know, the most chill guy in the world. But on the field, there was almost a borderline white line fever for Blayke in that last half of the year.
Yeah, because he sees his responsibility to the team as a leader. So I don't think stress will be his demise, that's for sure. But he's just got a more, I think, a worldly view on what his responsibility as a leader and player is. But he's so popular that it was natural for him, and I think he's aware. He's aware that his team respect him. He's aware that his team really like him, but he's also getting stronger at holding account and holding standards as well. So we feel like there's more there. Ultimately, he's been pretty good the whole time as well. To be fair, splitting his performances, I just feel like it probably seems like it's out of this world now based on everyone's caught up with how good he actually is as well.
I agree.
We've valued him pretty highly for a number of years.
Approximate returns on McInnes and Ronaldo?
Loath to state.
Approximate.
But no, what happens is there's usually a little knock-on effect of getting their volumes back up, a little hammy tweak, a little calf tweak, or things like that happen. Cam, anything between, hopefully both the first half of the year. Cam earlier than Ronaldo, but they're both going really well. So early as possible. So time frames on. Hopefully Cam's around 6 to 10 or something like that, and Ronnie's not far behind him. Cool. But it might be slightly later from Ronnie.
What can you tell us, people who don't know much about this gentleman, what can you tell us about Liam Ison?
Iso, terrific kid. Coming back from his knee reconstruction, and then we had high hopes for Liam. Obviously, he's come across from Penny, been with us for a number of years now. Made his debut a couple of years ago there, which everyone would have saw. Yeah, super exciting prospect, and good to see him back out there. Obviously, the confidence comes with off a significant injury, and he's a mover. Like you would imagine an ACL for slow moving forwards is a little bit different to a lightning quick outside back that's got strong footwork, takes a little bit more catching up. Yeah. But he's been doing full team training, and he's brought the best out of Will Kay, and they're both training exceptionally well at the moment. And really excited for Iso to get back and get some footy in firstly, but he's a young lad and coming off the back of a significant injury. We've got some history there on the same with young Doxy. We saw go through a knee injury at his age, and you got to be careful with him. We won't be rushing anything out of Liam. Make sure he's 100%, and he's so far so good. He's looking really strong.
Is there mentoring there between Will and Liam?
They're pretty good. Yeah, we're inclusive on that. We don't have this say A team, B team thing. No, we're all part of the same club, and if you want to have a strong environment, a strong culture, and you want to win a premiership, you need a club to do it, not a team. So those players share things. They work hard on their connection, and they are helping each other.
Another player who's getting some raps I'm not sure how you feel about this. Centre Michael Gabrael, what can you tell us about him?
Yeah, Mickey G, up and comer. I think he curbed the enthusiasm on the young players too much. Everyone gets excited about what moments in time may look like, where do they have the tools that can display moments? Yeah, absolutely. Like Mickey Gabriel's got rapid speed. He can find the try line. But what we're loving about Mickey at the moment is he's starting to value. It's a bit like KL actually a couple of years ago, where KL had a couple of parts of his game that he wanted to work on, and I definitely wanted him to work on before we put him into the team. And now that's a feature of KL's game, and Mickey G's catching up. He's still a young boy.
Are you talking defence?
There's other parts. It's defence, It's situational awareness, when to play, when not to, things like that. But we want them to back themselves as well. They've got stuff that we can't coach. Like we're not sending Mickey Gabriel into a game saying don't do this, don't do that.
Right.
It's more about what you do need to do to be able to be consistent in the NRL. But he's definitely a prospect. We're excited by him. He's on for a couple of years, and we love having him. And quite frankly, he's developing pretty quick. But they're what's happened with Mickey, Liam, those guys like Jesse Ramian's looking as fit as we've ever seen. Like he's having his best pre-season we've ever seen. KL's come back from the off-season break, but when he come back after Christmas, like he is flying.
Yeah.
And that competition for spots, and even though Chrissy Viola's he's heading over to Perth. They're all cracking away there. They're super competitive for spots at the moment.
Okay.
And but we're bringing the best out of each other, and those young guys are two to be excited about. Yeah, we've got high hopes from.
Now, when everyone's fit, your forward pack is pretty stacked, and not everyone's going to get a jersey in NRL Week 1 against the Titans. Your middles, you got AFB, BHU, McInnes, well, when he's back, Colhoun, Kafusi, Siffa, Tall Tom, Toby, and Hoheba, and your edge, slightly less competition in Britt Teague, Billy Burns, and Siffa Talakai. I mean, I'm assuming you're happy with what you got.
Yeah.
What happens to the guys who don't make that first 17 Week 1? Like, legitimately, any one of those guys could get a spot based on last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you mention Oregon as well there?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so Oregon, it comes down to its timing, right? So if everyone is fit and healthy and giving the best version of himself, then it's performance.
Gotcha.
But most of it's timing. Someone will jump someone else. Like Oregon's had a calf injury throughout pre-season, so he's coming back into it. The last couple of weeks, Braden's had a small knock, and then the others jump. So they're all competing for spots. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, whoever performs the strongest, and then you've got to balance the team. You can't have... There's the players work in combinations, if you will, but like to balance the team out with a bit of power and then some industry. And when we're at our best, I feel like we do have a good balanced starting pack with some power and industry, and then same on the interchange where we want to shift some energy with some power and kick someone's door in, then we can do that. But if it's a high tempo, high cracking game, we can have some industry go on. So it's a nice problem to have, and they'll all be playing throughout the course of the year. So if they get a little bit disappointed for round 1, I'm sure there's still plenty of footy up the sleeve for them for the rest of the year. And at the end of the day, we're past all that. The best performers will be playing.
Dan Atkinson gone to the Dragons. Like, how could he? Because we don't like Dragons, even though you love the Dragons because you played for them. Niwhai Puru, would you suggest he's next in line, or is it hard? He is?
Absolutely, yeah. No, okay. He was close last year. I don't know what it would have done there. We threw Acco in. Acco's got utility value, or had utility value for us, and delivered every time played in the halves. So that would have been a tough call. I think round 27 we brought Acco in to play against the Dogs. Yeah, we would have been a tough call on Niwhai not to play him then, give him an opportunity based on how good he had performed throughout the course of the year. And sometimes you've got to future-proof the club a little bit, where you've got to pick a player that's you're invested in and you want to see what they're about. But yeah, if an opportunity comes, Niwhai's definitely ready.
And give us a little bit, even though he's down the road, give us a little bit on Riley Pollard, please.
Yeah, Riley's up and comer as well. Like, come across he's been for a few years now. We've got some NRL trial time last year, but he'll be getting some more trial time this year, Riley. Cool. Developing nicely, and then he'll come into that position with Niwhai in the halves and work together with obviously Tricky and Nico are doing majority of the training, but they'll get reps. We'll still share. We need to know that if something happens to one of those guys, that we've got an adequate replacements, and we feel like both those guys are So we've got young Taj Ford's coming back now. He's missed most of the pre-season, and then we've got someone like Riley Jones can fill in there if needed. But we're excited by what Niwhai and Riley can bring, and then it's pretty obvious that as we cycle through over the course of time with what we've got in our squad or in our team, that we're pretty much trying to develop underneath them. So if anything was to happen, generally what's happened for us is the guys that have come in and done a pretty good job, and that's why we've actively targeted those guys a couple of years ago and worked hard on their development.
Now, the last portion of this interview is going to annoy you because it's all about you, okay?
It's annoying me already.
I know. The Rules Committee, the NRL Rules Committee, with a select few, how does that make you feel?
Uncomfortable. Yeah.
Why?
Well, most of it was quite, the contents of the committee conversations are supposed to be for a committee for a reason, and then you walk out of there and everyone shares what they were talking about. But
right.
Most of it was amicable. I felt it was a privilege to be there and invited to go there.
Yep.
To be honest, the one thing that's obviously irked everyone's the kick-off, which I can tell you, I said no, but it was amicable. The conversations were all above board, pros, cons,
yep.
And then it went, who wants it and who doesn't. And I'm not going to comment for what the other coaches did or didn't say, but I can say for myself, I didn't think it was necessary.
Do you think there's a need for an NRL coaches committee as such? Because as a fan, I'm like, I don't know.
Based on my experience of this one, I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay.
But no, I was happy. Listen, I was happy to be outvoted or disagreed with, or that's part of it, right? You just share your opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's perfectly fair and reasonable. But again, happy to be wrong. If the new kickoff rule's awesome, it's awesome. But I was pretty, I'm pretty clear that I like the way the kickoff is as it states. But also happy to be proven wrong. But I don't know why that you have a committee if you're just going to go and share it with everyone.
What can you tell us about your future at the club, whether it's contract-wise or it's how you're feeling? Like, obviously you're here for the long term. Are you going to be sticking around for the next 3? Like, when's your contract up, for example?
I've got another 2 seasons.
Okay.
So, I've sort of, there's some interest there, but obviously in preliminary chats is probably as best as I could say.
Yep.
I don't foresee myself going anywhere.
Yep.
Obviously, results determine whether you keep a job, and then the club has to determine whether they want me to keep the job. And there's some initial discussions there. But obviously, that happened actually a little while ago, but I wanted to put it off for the now, not based on not wanting to be here. I'm really clear that I don't think I'm not visualising doing anything else at the moment. So it makes sense to try and figure something out, doesn't it? But most of the time, I'm just not thinking about it. I'm basically just focusing on what we've got to do right now and sorting the other stuff out and making sure they're obviously clear and getting the season up and running. But we'll talk to it at the relevant time. So yeah.
Now, we're not going to get too personal here, but it is well known in the NRL now this week that your son is playing a trial. What's that like as a dad? Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I'm happy for him. I wanted him to stay at home with the Dragons. It didn't work out. He's gone to the Bulldogs. They on a 3-year deal, which is a great opportunity for him. And I'm really excited to see him get an opportunity in a trial match. And he's been loving it there. He's had a really good time so far, and been learning different things. He's a little fish in a big pond now, and learning to play different positions. And sort of grown up mostly a 5'8", but he's playing some centre and some fullback and some wing even at training. So it's a great experience for him and an opportunity to come, so he's very excited.
Now, 3rd generation Fitzgibbon, is there a chance he was 4th? Was there a grandfather or it started with Alan?
Started with, Al, yeah.
It's pretty cool, 3rd generation.
Yeah, it is, yeah. We don't really think about it as anything other than, when Dad played, I played, and he's going to play, really, to be honest. Yeah, no, it's not something we sit around talking about. We always sort of move forward to the next thing. And
have you thought about in 4 years' time you might coach against him?
I'd hope so. I'd like to.
Yeah.
It'd be uncomfortable on game day, of course. If the opportunity where he plays NRL and you got to coach against him, that'd be uncomfortable. But it'd be also awesome because it means he's playing first grade. So good on him. So I look forward to it.
Tell us a bit about your assistant coaches this year, and I don't know, let everyone know a bit about them that we may not know about them.
Right, so obviously with Josh Hannay leaving to the Titans, Daniel Holdsworth, which was, we were never under any illusions as to why we didn't go and recruit another high-profile assistant coach, if you will. Super confident in DJ. He's a developing coach and different skill set to Josh, but has a really good rapport with the team. He's been here for a number of years now. So him and Pricey, who have been stable for us, and we all know and love Pricey. He's the prankster, he's our connector, and he's got his finger on the pulse of where the team's at. Pricey is awesome to work with, and what we've been doing, obviously we've signed Freddie Michalak to come over. Because of the stability of DJ and Pricey and myself, I felt like I had something a little bit different set of ideas, and I'd worked with Freddie before when he was doing some consulting with the Roosters. Mm-hmm. And then he come in and did some kicking work with our players in 2022, but also knew that he was married to his wife Cindy's from Cronulla. Oh. And what an opportunity. And I talked to Trent Robinson actually, because he'd just lost Justin Holbrook to the Knights. Yep. And we were just having a chat around assistant coaches, but he'd already organised Michael Checker. And then when we got talking to assistant coaches, we sort of had the, what come up. I said, was there any left field ones that come up for you and whatever? And he sort of recommended, because he knew whether I knew Freddie. And then we ended up chatting, and we ended up working it out for Freddie to come back, which is really exciting for us to have a different set of ideas. And super detailed guy, Freddie, and he'll give us a point of difference there. But also, in the meantime, we've actually given the opportunity to Andrew Dallalana and Dave Howlett to do some work with us.
Great.
And actually, Paul Gallen's been doing a little bit more for us as well, and we want to sort of get Gal doing a few more things next year, even more so now that his commitments with Nine are going to start. But we'll look at giving Gal some stuff as well, it's a good crew.
What will Gal do this year, for example?
He's sort of nearing the end because his Channel 9 work starts.
Oh, okay.
But no, we just had him in and around running some drills when we had, obviously, with a coach down until Dave Howlett and Andrew could organise their time, and Andrew will do a few months with us in the lead up to Freddie's arrival. So Gal's helping him with some different drills and different forwards drills, and he's been around, and we just love having him here, to be honest. Every time Paul Gallen's around, it's almost like a symbol of success, and this year was sort of an introductory to what it's like spending more time, meetings, being around a lot more, and then next year we'll give him something to sink his teeth into. Yeah,
nice. And Dave Howlett, well known for his role at Endeavour High, where a lot of players come from the NRL, and great success at a junior level with Cronulla anyway, so it's good that he's back in the circle. Yeah,
the players that have been coached by him speak very well of him, so just made total sense to use coaches from within and give some exposure and development time, and with learning a different. Dave left back to Endeavour when I'd arrived, so I never worked with Dave, to be honest, but he's awesome. It was really good to have him back, and as I said, he was a big part of the players' development when they were younger.
Yeah. Give us a bit of insight into Mark and Jess, your analysts.
Yeah, Mark
and health analysts.
Yeah, Jess is our sports scientist, and Mark is our performance analyst. So Mark is obviously flying the drone and chopping video training, statistical packages, is putting our data together, more performance-based analysis, and Jess is the sports science analysis. So GPS data, probably innovation as well, looking at some new ideas, different way of interpreting the data, finding some trends and presenting up. But both awesome. We have. For us to be probably, how would I say it? We don't have the best.
We don't have the most money.
No, we don't have a centre of excellence, right? But what we do have is great people. So what do we focus on? We focus on the people. We focus on how hard we work together and our connection. And Jess and Mark are a perfect example of that. They're awesome, and they love being here, and we love having them here, and we're all trying to push each other to get better, and ultimately they feel exactly the same as the players, where we want more.
2016, 10 years on, there's going to be a lot of talk about that this year, and rightly so. How does that affect you? What are your thoughts on how you're going to incorporate it, etc., or whatever you can tell us at this point?
Well, we don't play Melbourne until last round 27. So there's a bit of time in between now and then to get that right, but we'll definitely be drawing on it and honouring and acknowledging what we do it anyway. We love our history and we draw on it a lot. We're basically we're custodians. We've got a period of time that we get to leave a mark on the jersey in whichever way, positive and negatively we can. well, they left the most important mark on that jersey. So we'll be honouring them this year in the right way, and really looking forward to that last round against Melbourne here at Shark Park to really honour them.
Great if we could get to a point where we don't have to play Melbourne 2 or 3 weeks later down in Melbourne. That's getting a bit old.
Yeah, it is.
Although we're getting closer.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we can't do it. One last question before we let you go. I hit you up the first year about this, and you gave me a good answer, but I want to hear it again. Music. What are you listening to? What do you listen to? Who do you like? You been to any concerts lately? Anything?
Honestly, as I told you like the first time, because I was doing an hour and a half in the car each way to the Roosters, it's about 45, 50. I'm all podcasts. I'm not listening to any music.
What podcasts are you listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of military stuff, interesting enough.
Okay.
There's a
History?
Sean Ryan podcast. There's not so much... obviously I vary in and out of Rogan ones, some MMA ones.
Yep.
A little bit of everything, really. There's some light-hearted ones. If I feel like I just don't want to think about anything and just have some time off and some entertainment, I might listen to a light-hearted one. But I've been going deep on military stories, to be honest, and tales of sacrifice, and I'm fascinated in that.
Is that first person or?
A bit of both.
Yeah.
It's a big podcast now, the Sean Ryan Show. It's been listening to some of that stuff. It's becoming quite. Not only military stories, it's becoming quite political, you know. At the moment, they're covering the Minnesota fraud scandal with the childcare.
Yes.
But each podcast's about 4 or 5 hours, right?
Oh,
so,
really?
now he's gone down a rabbit hole. He's had multiple guests on and burning some time on it. And I'm not sure a fraud in Minnesota is going to serve me any good, but it's been interesting to listen to. But I sometimes I'll listen to other coaching podcasts and sport podcasts as well. If I want to sort of stimulate thought, and I want to, some empowering leaders podcasts. Sometimes I'll listen to that if I want something. It all varies, but I've got a stack of them and just cycle between them.
And some of that would incorporate into your daily life and your work life?
It's how I find the more I listen to. It's funny how you put something out there or you're thinking about a certain thing and then you just happen to hear it on, and then it draws you in and you just sort of form something like a similarity or some context out of it. And then it's like you're thinking to yourself, I haven't seen a red Mini in a while, and then all of a sudden you're driving past red Minis every second and third K, you know what I mean? It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
But then other times I deliberately go looking for stuff as well.
Now, I know you're aware of this, but we have been interviewing some of the old boys of the Cronulla Sharks under the term of Great Whites. And your old man comes up a lot, mainly because I drive it, but also other guys from that era. Very fond of your old man. We love your old man.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear.
How's he going?
He's going good. No, he's going good. He's obviously getting on a bit now, but he's going really well.
That's good.
Still has... Yeah, just a man of few words. He's still humble. Stays down at Dapto and Ken Hooker. And I actually listened to. I bumped into Dave Riccio.
Oh yeah.
He was down on interview on the players the other day, and he said he'd listened to one on Dan Staines.
Yes.
That made me listen to. So
good.
I actually listened to it. It
Oh,
was
cool.
awesome. I flicked it through to my mum to listen to.
Ah,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dan Staines is a top fella.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Deep thinker.
Yeah. Josh Hannay bumped into Dan Staines somewhere last year actually and said that he said send his regards. So I actually listened to the.
I'm glad you did, Fitzy. He loves the club still, like all the guys do. But yeah, these guys just, man, they're the fans who are listening to this right now. They're the same. Like they've done their legacy, done their time, they bled, but they still hold this great torch for this great club.
Yeah, it's awesome. No, we'll throw open training sessions sometimes, particularly for derby matches and Old Boys Day when it's on. We just every part we can, even bumping into them, and, in the community. It's awesome to hear their stories, and we love having them down. The more the merrier, and they're all welcome. But there's also, just looking at the board there, Cameron Serrato's name on the board. He can't come and watch our training, Cameron, and there's some other coaches that are on the board there, but former players are welcome.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks for your time, Craig. I really appreciate it, and good luck for the season. We know it's going to be a great one, and we super appreciate your time, so thank you very much.
No worries. Thanks, Sam.
SharkCast is supported by the best and most honest real estate agent in the Sutherland Shire, Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. He's an expert in the Caringbah region and has his eye all across the Shire. Lifelong Sharks fan and supporter of this podcast, if you're looking to buy or sell in the region, the person you need to be talking to is Jason Hawes from Cripps & Cripps Real Estate. Call him on 0410 417 450. That's 0410 417 450. Jason Hawes, Cripps & Cripps Real Estate.
SharkCast! SharkCast! Fafita tries to crash his way over, he does! Fafita got the ball over the line!
And to all you people back in the Shire, turn your porch lights off because we're coming home with a trophy.